The air hung heavy and thick around the lonely truck stop. Diesel fumes mingled with the greasy smell of cheap burgers. Truckers, weary from their routes, sat hunched over coffee, seeking solace in the fluorescent glow. No one noticed the shadow that slipped in from the darkness. No one saw her until she chose to be seen. That's when they saw her. Amanda. They called her Phoenix on the CB. A cruel joke. There was nothing fiery or reborn about this woman. Her face was a canvas of hard living, etched with lines that spoke of sleepless nights and bad choices. Bedbug bites, red and angry, dotted her skin like a macabre constellation. Metal glinted from her face, piercings twisting her features into a grotesque mask. Her eyes were the worst, empty, vacant. They held a chilling 1,000-yard stare that seemed to look right through you. It was the kind of stare that spoke of things best left unseen, of darkness that clung to her like a shroud. Truckers, hardened by miles of open road and countless encounters with the strange and unsettling, would avert their gaze. They knew better than to make eye contact. She moved like a phantom, drifting between the shadows of the parked 18-wheelers. Her voice, a raspy whisper, would sometimes slither out into the night air, asking for a cigarette, $1, a ride. Few dared to refuse her. There was something about Amanda, something about Phoenix, that sent shivers down the bravest trucker's spine. They told stories about her, whispered rumors passed from one driver to the next. Some said she was a witch, others a runaway, but all agreed on one thing. Amanda, aka Phoenix, was bad news. Amanda hadn't always been this way. There was a time, long ago it seemed, when her eyes held a different kind of light. Back then she was just Amanda, a young woman with a kind smile and dreams of a normal life. She had even been married once. Her husband, a man who valued normalcy above all else, had been charmed by that smile, by the spark in her eyes that had long since been extinguished. He hadn't known what lay beneath the surface, the darkness that lurked within her. He didn't see it until it was too late. The changes had been gradual at first. The light in her eyes dimmed, replaced by a growing emptiness. She withdrew into herself, pushing away the people who cared about her. Then came the piercings, the tattoos, the unsettling transformation that turned her into a stranger. The 1,000-yard stare had been the final straw. It was as if something had broken inside of her, leaving behind a hollow shell. Her husband, unable to cope with the fear that gnawed at his insides, fled. He left her with nothing but a hastily scribbled note and the echoes of what could have been. The woman in the photo seemed like a distant memory, a ghost from a life she no longer remembered. Amanda, or Phoenix as she now preferred to be called, carried the weight of her past like a physical burden. The truck stop was her hunting ground, a place where she could disappear into the anonymity of the road. It was here she met Bumdot on social media. He wasn't much to look at, but he was all she had. He offered her a place in his mom's house, some football meat, a temporary escape from the biting wind. In return, he demanded her obedience, her silence, her very soul. He called her his pet, his project, a twisted term of endearment that spoke volumes about their relationship. Bumdot disrespected her, belittled her, and treated her with a disdain that bordered on cruelty. He'd leave her for days at a time, stranded at some desolate truck stop with nothing but a few crumpled dollars and a warning to be there when he got back. But Amanda endured it all with a stoic silence. Perhaps she believed she deserved nothing better. Perhaps she had simply grown numb to the pain. Or maybe, just maybe, she saw something in Bumdot that no one else could see, a flicker of humanity in the darkness of his soul. Section 4. The Abandoned Children. The memory of what she had done, of what she had left behind, haunted her still. It had been a cold winter night when she finally walked away, leaving behind the warmth of their tiny apartment, the scent of baby powder and crayons. She could still hear their cries, their tiny voices calling out for her, pleading for her to stay. But Amanda was already gone, swallowed whole by the night. She had convinced herself that it was for the best, that they were better off without her. She told herself that she couldn't be what they needed, that she was too damaged, too broken. The truth was far simpler and far more terrifying. She was afraid afraid of the darkness that threatened to consume her, afraid of what she might do to them in her despair. So she ran, seeking refuge in the anonymity of the open road, hoping to outrun the ghosts of her past. She had heard whispers, rumors of a place where she could disappear, a place where the shadows welcomed you with open arms, a place called Benton Harbor. Section 5. The Summoning. They say the house is cursed, a dilapidated Victorian mansion perched precariously on a hill overlooking the town. Locals whisper tales of its former inhabitants, of a family torn apart by tragedy and madness. They say their spirits still linger within its walls, trapped between this world and the next. Amanda, drawn to the darkness like a moth to a flame, had made the house her sanctuary. She felt strangely at peace within its decaying walls, surrounded by the echoes of sorrow and despair. Here, in this haunted haven, she could almost forget the life she had left behind. But the past has a way of catching up to you, and Amanda's past was about to come knocking at her door. Legend has it that her name, spoken aloud 15 times in the dead of night, acts as a summoning. Those foolish enough to utter the words, to tempt fate with their curiosity, will find themselves face to face with the truck stop terror herself. She will offer them a meal, a gesture of hospitality that belies the darkness in her heart. Beware her cooking. The food is laced with lead, the vegetables rotten, the meat long past its expiration date. It is a meal designed to poison the body and corrupt the soul, a macabre feast prepared by a woman teetering on the edge of madness. Section 6. Beware of Benton Harbor. If you find yourself traveling through Benton Harbor, be wary of the shadows that stretch long and hungry in the twilight. Avoid the truck stops, no matter how tempting their greasy allure. And whatever you do, do not under any circumstances utter her name. For Phoenix is still out there lurking in the darkness, her 1,000-yard stare searching for its next victim. She is a creature of the night, a phantom that haunts the highways and byways of our collective nightmares. Some say she is a lost soul, a victim of circumstance. Others believe she is nothing less than evil incarnate. But one thing is for certain, Phoenix is a force to be reckoned with. A haunting reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we create ourselves. Seeker, I was joking, she's just dusty.